I've been podcasting for almost 15 years and I'm kind of a gear nerd. So in this video, I'm going to show you all the setups for solo podcast recording, you and one other guest, 3 people, 4 people, and more. I'll give you options on several budget levels from starter budgets all the way to advanced if you want to add video to your podcast, and some accessories to make sure you look and sound your best. Let's talk about solo podcasting or content creation. If you're looking for a USB microphone, this is the one I typically recommend. It's under $50 on Amazon. It has a USB-C connection here and XLR. This is the perfect beginning microphone. I used it for many years, and one of the co-hosts on my shows still uses this mic. It's incredibly flexible because you can connect it not only to your computer, but also your iPhone or iPad and record with the Riverside app, whether you're doing solo content or something with a remote guest. Also, USB microphones like this have a headphone jack here, and you want to make sure to plug in a pair of wired headphones. This way you can monitor your own voice, and if you're recording with a remote guest, you'll be able to hear them as well. When you go to record, you can connect this microphone to your device with just a single USB-C cable. Here I am in Riverside getting ready to record, and you'll see this microphone shows up as the ATR 2100X. I'll link this microphone and all the gear you see in this video down in the description under 1, 2, 3, or 4 podcast setups. Now, if you want to upgrade your sound and have a little bit more budget, I would recommend the Shure MV6. This is also a USB microphone, works with your Mac or Windows computer. You plug in your headphones there. This also comes with a microphone stand in the box that's pretty high quality, and this microphone has built-in voice isolation that cuts down on background noise. If your room is a little echoey, this will help. I actually did an entire video review of this microphone. I'll link that above and down in the description, but this is a great intermediate microphone to step up. And before you get to XLR microphones, which we'll talk about in more advanced setups, you can use the Shure MV7 Plus. This is also a USB-C microphone, has the headphone jack. You can also connect it with an XLR cable, which we'll get into audio interfaces in a second, but this is going to get you pretty much professional sound, and it's about $250. Now, if you're doing a solo podcast and you want to add video, which I highly recommend you doing just for discoverability, being able to put that content on YouTube and Spotify for creators, your mobile device, whether it's an iPhone or modern Android phone, is likely going to get you great picture quality, even better than a lot of dedicated webcam options. I actually did an entire video review of the Opal C1 versus the iPhone, versus more inexpensive webcams, and even the Opal Tadpole, which is very convenient, has a built-in clip for like your laptop. And if you don't want to use your phone for your camera, these work well, but honestly, your phone camera is probably going to look the best. It does the best white balancing, even in low light situations. And here's an example of what recording with an iPhone in the Riverside app looks like, even using a USB microphone. And if you wanted to use your computer to record, but still use your mobile device as your camera, continuity camera with an iPhone and a Mac works extremely well. I can literally select my camera right here, and now I'm using my iPhone as my webcam right here in Riverside, and you get a seamless recording. Super easy to use. Now, when you're recording solo, in addition to a microphone stand, which comes with the MV6 and the ATR 2100X, you want to get a tripod to hold your phone if you're using that as your camera. I really like this tripod. It's about $30. It's a Joby Gorilla Grip. I'll put a link to this down below. And I have a little mount here from Moment, and I like it because if you have an iPhone, you can magnetically attach your phone and then use this as your tripod. It's going to get you stable video and it'll look really good. You can also get inexpensive mobile mounts for all kinds of phones like this. The clip can expand to fit multiple phone sizes, and having a tripod like this plus a microphone stand is going to go a long way. Now, if you're doing a solo podcast, but you really want to use like this mic, which you've probably seen everywhere, this is the Shure SM7B. To use something like this, you're going to need an audio interface and one that's powerful enough to run a mic like this. I'll go over some options in a moment, but honestly, if you're just starting out recording solo, I think the Shure MV7 Plus that I showed earlier, or the MV6 for $150, those are better options, especially if you're just starting out and if you're recording solo. Now, if you want to record with 2 people in the same room, you're going to need an audio interface. I have a few options here. One that I highly recommend is the Vocaster 2. This is from Focusrite. I actually did an entire video talking about this in depth and setting it up. I'll link it above and down in the description, but it offers 2 XLR ports, allowing you to connect 2 microphones and record them simultaneously. The Vocaster 2 is reasonably priced at $250 and has great features for beginners like auto gain, meaning you can talk for a few seconds and it will set the volume for you automatically. It's also powerful enough to run microphones like that Shure SM7B. Another option is the Motu M2. This is an audio interface that allows for 2 XLR channels. I really like that it has a display here showing you the levels for each microphone. It is actually cheaper than the Vocaster 2 at $200. still sounds just as great, but doesn't have some of those features like the auto gain. You're going to have to set the volume on this yourself, which when you talk into the microphone, just make sure those audio levels are in the yellow, touching red occasionally, but you don't want the audio staying in the red because that's going to make for a distorted sound. There's also other 2-channel interfaces like the Focusrite Scarletts and ones from Tascam and ProSound, but I really like the Vocaster 2 and the Motu M2 for 2 people. Now when it comes to microphone, if you have something like the Shure MV7, you can use this one with those audio interfaces by connecting an XLR cable. I'll put links to an XLR cable down in the description, but you connect each microphone to one of the inputs on these audio interfaces, and you're good to go. You can now connect a second microphone here, and even like the ATR 2100X that I showed before, that has an XLR connection, meaning you can use it and the MV7 mix and match your microphones. Another great microphone that I'll recommend here is the Rode PodMic. You can get this in USB and or XLR versions. This is the XLR only version. It's about $100, which is a great deal, and it sounds really good. You plug the XLR cable into the back. It doesn't come with a stand, so you'll need a stand or arm for this one, but this actually has an incredible sound. Highly recommend. Now for a microphone like this, especially if you have multiple people, you want stands or microphone arms holding them. This is an example of a microphone arm. This is the Rode PSA1. It's about $130. You can get more inexpensive ones on Amazon, but you will quickly find that those cheaper arms aren't as adjustable, don't stay where you put them, which is key when you have a microphone arm, and get squeaky. A lot of times that cheaper metal makes sounds when you move it, and you don't want that when you're recording a podcast. So once you get your microphone on an arm or a stand, plug it into the XLR, that goes into the audio interface, and you're good to go. Now when you use audio interfaces like these with multiple channels, you'll need to record in something like GarageBand or Audacity, where you can record the tracks individually. You can also use these audio interfaces with things like Riverside. You'll see here I have my Rodecaster Pro 2, which I'll talk about in a moment. It's connected as my microphone, and I can choose it as my speaker output because I connect headphones to that audio interface. But using audio interfaces like this with Riverside will combine both microphones into one track. So you can use it with Riverside, record with 2 people in a room, but you'll only see one track or one name in the transcription and when you're editing. If you plan to do a lot of recording with multiple guests in the room and you want an easy way to capture those separate tracks, you can get something like the Rodecaster Duo. This is $500, so it's a little more pricey, but it can record 2 XLR microphones. I did an entire video going through the Rodecaster Duo in depth. I'll link it above and down in the description. You might also want to use an audio interface like this because you're using mics like the Shure SM7B that require more power, and this gives you more flexibility in how you mix and adjust the levels for headphones for multiple people. Now, when it comes to recording video for multiple people, I would still recommend using mobile devices like the iPhone. If you want to get those separate video tracks and make it easy to switch between who's speaking later, using the Riverside app on a mobile device, and then connecting a USB microphone like the Shure MV7 Plus to each mobile device that's recording your guest, that's actually going to give you the ability to have multi-track video and audio with Riverside. I did an entire video explaining this kind of setup, having multiple people in a room and actually having that auto switching, which is Riverside Smart Scenes. If you want to learn more about that setup, check out the video above and I'll link it down below as well. Now, let's say you want to record with 3 people in person. Now you're going to need an audio interface with more than just 2 XLR inputs. The most inexpensive option immediately is the PodTrack P4. You can connect 4 XLR microphones and record directly to an SD card that you insert into this little device. You can also connect it via USB to a computer and, like before, have all those microphones go into one track when recording with something like Riverside. Yes, I did a whole video on the PodTrack P4 as well. I'll link it down in the description. But if you're looking for more robust audio interfaces, Motu, that I mentioned their M2 before, they actually make what's called an M6, and that has 4 XLR inputs that you can use, so for 3 or 4 guests. It is $400, and you'll see the price starts increasing on these interfaces as they increase in power and connections. You can also look at the Scarlett 18i8. This is a little under $400 when it's on sale. 4 XLR inputs on the front, allowing you to record multiple people. And of course, you could step up to the Rodecaster Pro 2, but we'll get to that in the 4-person setups. Another option, and this was one of my favorite audio interfaces for years, this is the Sound Devices MixPre 3. And as the name implies, it has exactly 3 XLR inputs. So 2 mics here, and a 3rd mic via XLR on this side, has a headphone jack out, actually has a touchscreen interface here, 3 knobs to adjust the volume, and you can still use this as a USB audio interface with your computer and record to an SD card right here built into the device. Now, this interface is no joke. It is $1,000 for 3 channels, but it's really made as professional audio gear for the field. This is used by filmographers, videographers that will take this out to record audio directly to this self-contained device. You can battery power it or power it via that USB-C port and can really do it all. This has amazing sound, can power the most gain-hungry mics like the Shure SM7B, but you get what you pay for. Now, adding video to a podcast with 3 people, again, you can still use mobile phones and tripods, but you might be looking to upgrade that video quality to a more professional level. For that, I would consider cameras like the Sony ZV-E10. It's still under $1,000, $800, but the main benefit here is it has an interchangeable lens. That means you can use lenses of different focal lengths, so you can set up 3 in a room, have longer lengths to focus on different guests, and will give you lots of flexibility for recording. Now you can use something like the Sony ZV-E10 with Riverside in webcam mode. I have an entire video on that, we'll link below. But that's going to get you really high quality video for under $1,000 per camera. You can also look at cameras like the Blackmagic that also have interchangeable lenses, or cameras from Panasonic or Nikon. Using mirrorless cameras looks incredible, you'll get that professional video, but does make it more complicated to edit. Now you can use them with Riverside again in webcam mode, or you might want to consider something like a video switcher. I actually use a Blackmagic A10 Mini Pro here at my desk. This allows me to have multiple camera inputs via HDMI. You see you can connect up to 4 cameras, and then you can switch between them. This also works with Riverside. You see my Blackmagic is actually connected under that camera section right here, and if I switch the camera angle using the switcher, it actually switches in Riverside. So you could have a manual multi-camera control and record that program feed or mixed feed in Riverside. Another option is the Rodecaster Video, which is an all-in-one production console. You can connect 4 cameras with those HDMI ins and even connect 2 microphones via those XLRs. Speaker and headphone jacks out, and you can connect this to your computer via that USB-C port. Using a video switcher and those mirrorless cameras is going to get you that pro look that you see from so many podcasts. And what microphone should you use with those 4 people? Well, you can go with the Shure SM7B. Again, that's the one you see in all those podcasts, but I still find this to be a little too finicky. Now, there is a newer version of that mic called the Shure SM7DB. You don't need as powerful audio interface to run this. It is $500, but it will sound very good. I would also encourage you to try a microphone like the Earthworks Ethos. This is $400. You can use it with pretty much any audio interface, and it sounds great. This is the microphone I use to record my video podcast every week, and here's a little clip of how it sounds. So if you don't mind, send me the photo you just took, and then I can share it, and then we can discuss. Also, with multiple people in a room, you have to consider lighting. Now, you can get inexpensive lighting, whether you're doing solo or 2-person podcasts, getting something like this. This is a rechargeable LED light. You can adjust the intensity and even the color temperature, and it actually has what's called a cold shoe mount. So if you're recording with mobile devices and you have these kinds of tripods, you can actually connect the light to the tripod using that cold shoe mount, connect your phone, and now you have lighting and camera all in one. These can go a long way, but if you want to step up your lighting to a more professional look, I would recommend the Amaran 200X. That's actually the main key light that I use here in the studio. It's right above me, and I have a large softbox which diffuses the light, making it soft and limits some of those harsh shadows. It's $350 for one. You would likely need multiple for multiple guests, or you can get a softbox like this. This is called the lantern style, and that will spread light in all directions, and it's still a softbox, so it'll reduce those shadows and harsh lines. Just getting one key light with this kind of lantern can go a long way to making your podcast look more professional with any camera you use. But if you're using those mirrorless cameras, then you really want to consider upgrading the lights as well. Now, what if you're looking to do podcasting with 4 people? Well, a lot of the interfaces I talked about already, like the Motu M6, that's already capable of 4 XLR connections. Same with the Scarlett AT-i8. But if you want to go all the way and just get one audio interface to rule them all, you can get the Rodecaster Pro 2. You can plug in 4 XLR microphones, plus there are 4 headphone jacks, which means you can mix everyone's headphones separately. That's really key when recording in person. Has 2 USB ports, so you can connect it to your computer, and actually have 2 different USB mixes depending on your use case. Plus you can load multiple sounds and things like that. I use the Rodecaster Pro 2 both for all my video recording and my podcasts, and you'll see here I have it selected here in Riverside, so I can jump in and record high quality content right away. Now, because of that dual USB setup, I actually have one setup for when I'm using my podcast microphone here, and then when I go to the mic choice, I can use the Rodecaster Pro 2 Chat, which is a little different mix, and then it will pull audio from my shotgun microphone that I'm using above. That's what you're hearing right now. And when it comes to 4 people, the same camera recommendations like a Sony mirrorless, Blackmagic, and lighting like the Amaran and using one of those lantern softbox all applies. By the way, if you want to hear more microphone comparisons for 3 and 4 setups, you can check out my USB video down below. I can't link any more up here, I already did too many. Or you can also hear my comparison for streaming microphones like those shotgun microphones. They're long and thin and great for off-camera audio. That's all below in the video description. Now you might be wondering why I kept mentioning what works with Riverside. Well, yes, you're on the Riverside YouTube channel, but I use Riverside to record so much content, not only because you get high quality local video and audio recording, whether you use your computer or even your iPhone and iPad, but you can also live stream right here in Riverside, set up multiple destinations like YouTube, Facebook pages, Twitch, and you can stream to all of them at the same time in 1080p quality. Plus, I can make my podcast visually engaging by sharing my screen or playing videos from the media board, and Riverside records all of this in real time. You can download these as separate tracks, and the Riverside editor helps me put it all together. I can use our Smart Scenes feature to quickly switch between the active speaker for a multicam look, all from Riverside, use AI tools to remove filler words, silences, even cut the fluff, so any superfluous content can be deleted quickly and listeners get the most valuable content right away. Plus, when you record with Riverside, you can use AI tools to repurpose your content. Whether it's a podcast, video content, or just use solo, use magic clips, and with one click, you can get lots of vertical videos from your long-form recordings, add those animated captions, and then publish that to TikTok, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, and more. And maybe you don't have the budget to buy any of the equipment here, well, you can use Riverside Magic Audio, and that will make any microphone sound studio quality, even using the built-in mic on your mobile device. I actually did an entire video where I talked about recording with just your phone and using Magic Audio to make it sound professional. You can check out that video right up here. Don't forget to subscribe to the Riverside channel and hit that like button if you want to learn more about gear, in-depth videos, or using Riverside and the AI editing tools to speed up your process. That's all right here on the channel. If you have questions, leave comments below this video. I'll answer you personally. And if you want to learn more about those live streaming features, going to multiple destinations, managing all those chats in one place, I did a masterclass style video walking through the entire process. You can check it out right up here. Again, links to all the gear that I talked about is down in the video description as well. Thank you for watching, and we can't wait to see what you create.